welcome back to the least formal podcast you're ever going to listen to, where me and a couple of my homeboys head around and talk shop about marketing for new patients for healthcare offices. If you're tuning in, you probably read the description and thought it was a good idea. Hopefully we deliver on whatever it is the copywriter promised. Cool. So we decided, after long debate and much arguing, we thought we'd talk about budget. Because I've been asked very specifically a few times, so how much should I be spending on my marketing, on my new patient marketing? And there's all kinds of formulas out there. Some consultants like to say, 7.2%. Take your gross avoided net, right? And I have the entrepreneur answer, which is if you give $1 into marketing, it gives you $1 or 10 cents back. How many dollars would you give it? Infinite dollars, right? Or $1 or $5 back or $10 back. Oh my God. So I think the truth is somewhere between those two super conservative number counter, bean counting numbers, and crazy wild-eyed entrepreneurship. So what say you, Executive Vice President of Operations?
All right. Okay, we'll go back. We'll start by going back to basics. So this is a sentence that I have probably said to clients, I can't even count, like thousands of times. But the basic datum of budgets is that your budget is your volume knob. It's that simple. You can turn it up and you can turn it down. And it comes down to, every market is different. So with any campaign, you're going to average out somewhere a cost per lead for that market, depending on the cost per click, depending on your click-through rates and all kinds of other numbers, etc. You're going to get an average cost of how much it costs to get somebody to respond to your ads. And from there, like I said, budget is a volume knob. If it costs, for example, $40 to get somebody to fill out a form for you, let's say, then okay, if you want one of those a day, spend $40. You want two a day, spend $80. I don't want to make it too simple, but it really is that simple.
There's a couple of assumptions you put in there, though. You assumed, one, that there is a campaign that is reliable and stably running, and the quality is similar. Because, for example, if you have one kind of case versus another kind of case can be different. Weight loss can cost less, but be worth less.
Oh, very much.
Not worthless, but worth
Yeah, no,
less.
Every campaign is different. Every market is different. The cool thing about budget, though, is literally there are so many pieces of a campaign that you can adjust and do everything with. Budget is, Johnny, you can agree with me on this if you want, it's probably the easiest thing to adjust. You simply just change the number. And I say that because then it's also very easy to test, because you can, if you're getting that average, so I'll back up a little bit. It's not as pure math as that. If you're averaging $40 a lead, it's not just as pure as, okay, good, now $80 gets me $2, because of two factors. One, now we're going to get deeper into it. Here we go. Okay, so one, Facebook is a bidding war. It's not the same as Google, where you literally say, I want to bid this much, but the more you spend, the more Facebook will reward you a bit as far as how many people they show you to and things like that. So there is some truth to the fact that the more you spend, you can actually bring that number down, that average number per cost. Now,
it's like getting enough throughput that the algorithm then has enough to work with. Because we've seen you spend too little, like $5 or $10 a day. Just run $5 or $10 a day. There's not enough for the algorithm to chew on it. It doesn't get to test it enough times. We know what it does. It rotates it around to test it. You give it enough kind of wind over the hood, as it were, it has the ability to start making good decisions and testing things as a test, and then it gets optimized. I don't think people realize that the first $50 you spend on Facebook is the worst $50. The next $50 the next day is a bit smarter, and by day 422, that is the smartest $50 you ever spent, because it knows everything.
That's the thing. It's not linear, is kind of the point there. You can spend too little, and as you mentioned, the computer doesn't learn, but you can spend too much too. You can flood the algorithm with information, or even worse still, you can take a market that's on the smaller side and put too much money. Let's say, for example, you're getting $4 leads, and you got 25,000 odd people in your area. You can't just pull out $100,000 and boom, get all those people. As funny as that would be, it's just going to be diminishing returns there after a while. So there's a key to budgeting, which is slowly figuring out how much you can spend and where you hit that point of diminishing returns, basically peak efficiency.
Okay, so if I'm getting like two leads a day, and I'm spending that $80 you mentioned before, so I could spend $160 to get 4?
Maybe.
It depends. What we found is there's a sweet spot for every market. A great example of that, we have a client that I work with myself that is not afraid to spend money. And we have found in their particular market, they usually get around $40 leads. And if I spend $250, they'll get about 6 leads. If I spend $350, they'll still get 6 leads. Now, we found that through just playing with it. It's like we up the budget, we'll try $100 this day, and then we tried $150, and then we ran it, but it's one of those weird things.
Platforms like Facebook will always spend the money.
Oh, yeah, you'll spend, heaven.
Once they've got your results, they're like, let's post some of the stuff on Audience Network and blow out some cheddar, right? We just ran a test last night for put $100 budget per day on a YouTube ad, and we left it to run overnight. We'll come back and check it tomorrow. So between 8 p.m. and midnight, it spent $100.
Yep, yes it did.
And between midnight and 8 a.m. when we came in to check it, it spent another $100.
Yes.
So we blew $200. Bam! And it just made sure it spent every dime. So anyway, it was like, okay, let's not run that test.
That's the thing.
Again.
Yes.
There's something to note here too. You said you can only have so much per market. It's dependent on market.
Yeah.
But that's actually not 100% the case. It's by targeting. Think about this.
Yes.
And one thing you can do here is you can set budget at the ad set level. That might not make a lot of sense, but think of it like this. There are Facebook campaigns, and that's where you define your objective. I want leads. I want likes on my page. I want people to sign up for my newsletter. Below that, just above ads, is the ad set. And that's where you set targeting and placement. I want to put my ads on Instagram. I want to put them on Facebook. I want them to go to just men or just women. And we find that because those are separated out, you can put $50 a day on men and then maybe $100 a day on women if that's more efficient. You can modulate an A/B split test versus maybe just different zones of your market. South of the river, not a lot of people come from there. I'm going to put $20. North of the river, that's great. I'm going to put $100. That obviously just quantity of leads, but also quality of leads. Better quality people come from this zip.
Yeah, interesting. So you broke up campaigns by geography.
Yes, we have a technology for doing event marketing, which is we hit people in an area. You can also hit them by different genders, but you can also hit them.
When you say event marketing, you mean basically where instead of getting someone straight to the office, you mean they're supposed to come like dinner with docs.
Dinner with docs, seminars, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
A successful action we've done in the past is we can take people who've liked your page and hit those people. We can then take people who've liked your page and those that are similar to them. It's called a lookalike audience. We can take people similar to those who've signed up in the past, and we can take people similar to people who like your competitors' pages. Each one of those constitutes a different targeting, and you can put different budget on each one accordingly.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, do we ever upload the patient list from the doctor into Facebook?
Never.
Why would we do such a thing?
That's not very HIPAA compliant.
Exactly. It's HIPAA anti-compliant. Yeah, it would so if anybody had the idea, why don't you just upload our patient list and target them and target friends like them? No, don't. But you get almost the exact same thing by doing their likes, their page likes.
Right. Exactly. Likes. Maybe if you're tracking conversions, you can make a whole audience based off, all right, these are the people that actually signed up, these are the leads. Find me a lookalike audience based off those leads, and then you put some money towards that. You got to be careful though. Those audiences, sometimes they're a little small. People who like your pages, maybe only a couple hundred or a couple thousand. You can only put so much money behind that before the efficiency really starts to dip down. That's why having those lookalike audiences is great, because it utilizes Facebook's native learning to take a small audience that's well defined and undefine it a little bit, but really expand it out so you can put more money behind it.
Yeah, because you want to spend as much money per the wild entrepreneur concept. You want to spend as much money profitably as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. When I was a media buyer back in the day, someone would say, "How much is your budget?" Well, I don't know. My budget. I have an unlimited budget for something that works. That was my line. I've said that 1,000. I have an unlimited budget for something that works, and for something that doesn't work, I have no budget whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a question. So what about multiple campaigns? Do you ever have different budgets running? You'd say you're running a knee pain campaign here and a neuropathy campaign over here. What about budgeting on, when we have two different things in the same market like that?
You have different options, actually, because you can, this is where Facebook has some really cool tools right now that they have out there. So if you're running, like you said, let's say knee and sciatica, those two things or whatever it is, then you can, if you want it specifically set, then you can very much say, okay, I want $80 a day on knee and $120 a day on sciatica. And that's what I want, and don't you dare do anything else. Mm-hmm. Boom. And Facebook will do that. Mm-hmm. Now, you can also say, like I said, this is where the tools come in. You can say, okay, I want $80 on sciatica, I want $120 on knee. I think I said that the other way back the first time. Anyway, but then there are a couple of options. Like there's a little switch. This is my screen, by the way.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, good. There's a little switch here that says, the first switch just says, hey, if you think you can do a little better by just adjusting things a little bit, go ahead. And that's, you just flip that, you hit that switch, and Facebook it'll go outside your parameters to a degree. Below that's another switch it's called Advantage Budget, where I say, okay, yes, I want 80 over here and I want 120 over here, but I hit that switch and Facebook has the freedom to say, this is hotter, I'm putting it all here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you run the risk of you might not get any leads on that one campaign that day because the other campaign was hotter. So it really, you got a lot of options is really what it comes down to when you're running multiple campaigns like that.
There's something else to note here too. If you're running multiple campaigns, you are not bidding against yourself. That's
right.
a common fallacy here. And this is what we tell our clients all the time. We tell them, you cannot run ads with other competitors while we're running ads.
Gosh.
And that seems a bit odd. Don't I want to flood the market as much as possible? No, not this way.
So you're talking about, okay, no, the difference here, two different campaigns, like you're running a Nikkei campaign or a solar campaign or whatever, they're not interfering with each other in the same ad account.
That's what I was going to bring
Let's
up.
say agency is we have our own agency account. If someone else, another agency is running another account, is what we're talking about here.
Or not even other agencies. If we as an agency are running ads for knee and neuropathy in our account, and let's say we have a client who wants to run weight loss on their own in their own personal ad accounts, those will start bidding against each other.
Yeah, because it is an auction. You'll say, well, I mean, Miss Jones logs onto Facebook. Miss Jones is a prospect for weight loss and for knee pain, right, in Facebook's eyes. So you'll go into an instant bid for that impression for her to see that ad of, hey, I'll pay $1 for that impression. No, I'll pay $1.50, says your other account. Your first guy says, oh yeah, I'll pay $1.75, says the one. You're bidding against yourself. It is the dumbest thing ever. Yeah. People think they're being clever by having two competing campaigns. Oh, let's let the best one win. No, you're in an auction holding two paddles,
yep.
And you're only bidder for the same thing. So you're
well,
really.
It comes down to the basic architecture of the Facebook newsfeed, right? That's usually where we put our advertising, and the Facebook newsfeed is full of little stories from pages you like, cute dog pictures or something like that from your friend or something. But they only have a limited number of space for certain types of ads. So if you're in the healthcare business, there's only so many healthcare ads they're going to feed you, and that same goes for pages. For your Facebook page you have for your office. They'll only give you so many options for that. Within the same ad account, it's non-competing. But different ad accounts, they'll basically compete for that same space. That they're only going to give you so many spaces in that guy's one newsfeed. You don't want to bid against yourself during the whole time.
Yeah, that just plays right into the monster's hands.
Zuckerberg's hands.
Yeah, like you're literally just might as well just cut a check and mail it to California and say, "Here, Zucks, buy some brewskis on me, man." Yeah, totally.
And there's one other facet to that too, because logistically, yes, you're bidding. Like if you have two different, like you said, business accounts that are running ads off the same page because it's the same office.
Two accounts on the same fan page.
Right. Yeah. And not only are you logistically bidding against yourself, but the algorithms also note that as suspicious.
Yeah, it's creepy. Why are there multiple ad accounts on the same fan page?
And so not only are you going to be bidding against yourself, but you're also automatically probably going to be paying more, being shown to the wrong people, etc. And it's in there. It's one of those both fortunate and unfortunate parts of what I do here is I actually read all those ridiculous rules that Facebook puts out, and that is one of their line items. It's actually right there. That is considered suspicious activity if you have.
Because they recognize you got to be crazy to be bidding against yourself. And they see somebody doing it, they go, okay, something either stupid or crazy is happening here. They don't care
or the assumption is somebody hacked an account, or you're trying to, or a lot of times, basically, it's viewed that you're trying to circumvent the normal activity. Why on earth would you use two different business accounts to advertise for the same company unless you're banking on the fact that you're doing something wrong in one of them, and if you get caught, that's okay, as I have my other.
Also, keep in mind, Facebook will sometimes run a certain amount of credit for you. You run $200, and then they charge you. 15 ad accounts running, you get your $200 off each one. You basically screw them over for $1,000. I'm sure that's one scam. I mean, if I can think of that scam, I'm sure the bad guys have thought of that scam right there. Yeah. How do you get $1,000 of free advertising? Run the same page, but run 15 different hacked ad accounts on it. It'd be easy. Yeah, I can see that's crazy. Yeah, and also I think there's something else they mentioned too. There's a shadow penalty that Facebook will put onto you.
Oh gosh, yeah.
If they think you're doing something bad, you're spending the same $50, whatever, but you're doing something goofy. They don't, whatever. You're breaking some rule somewhere. They think you're breaking a rule. They will raise the price of your ads. Absolutely. It used to be if you were running bad ads, they would cut you off and say, "We're cutting your ad." Notice how nobody seems to get disallowed ads anymore, right? Like it used to be it was like everybody had disallowed ads. Every other ad was disallowed. They learned, I'm pretty sure, that when it came to this, let the ad run, but make it super expensive. That way we get the money. Yeah. And we don't have to show the ad to anybody. They show the ad to very few people and charge a lot for it. So somebody over there had the recognition about that. About let's see how to get the money. So you stop the ads, you don't get the money.
We see it every day. We actually just about an hour ago, we were debugging a campaign. It's a client who's running two different campaigns, very similar campaigns as far as what the offer is and things like that. One campaign was getting, $2.30 clicks, and the other campaign was getting $10.60 clicks. And there's ways to go into anyways, you can go in there and see where those clicks are actually happening and how much they cost per element. And there was one image in that expensive campaign where all the money that was crazy expensive compared to all the other ones. And it was nothing terribly offensive or anything, but it's, for whatever reason, the algorithm saw that image and went, nope, that's against the rules, and was charging. So we just took that image out, and I guarantee you, we check it tomorrow, it's going to be the same cost per clicks going again.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So people claim, oh, Facebook's getting so much more expensive. What's really going on? They're probably bidding against themselves. They're breaking rules. Because what has happened to us? If you put, I should put the graph in here. The graph, we graphed the cost per lead for us, and it was, okay, we've been talking about $40. We've been saying $40. What was it actually last week?
$31.99.
Exactly, $31.99 per a qualified lead, which is basically the same. Actually, that number has been going down consistently over the last 6 months or a year.
Oh, yeah.
So people who say that the ads are getting more expensive, that actually it's revealing that they have some sort of ignorance of what's actually going on, or the new tools. They haven't. There's so many new tools. It's a full-time job to study the tools, right?
Yes.
All the budget tools are just a full-time study job.
That's one of the little theories we have here, right? When you're dealing with Facebook, you're dealing with their official stances and their official rulings. But it's known there's unofficial stuff that goes on that's unspoken. And one thing we've always suspected is, with Facebook having so many automated tools, they want to take some of the learning away from us and to then just do it themselves. And they do it pretty well, too. We've always suspected, though, that if you don't allow those tools, things get more expensive for you. Not because you're worse, but because you're not using the Facebook-approved tools.
They have a bias towards themselves. Yes. Yeah, the other things that seem to affect the quality of budget is, have you done the Facebook training? Because they keep track that you've done the Facebook training, or refuse to do the Facebook training, and somehow the guys who have the Facebook training, the budget seems to work better, and the guys who have not done the Facebook training, it's tougher.
Oh yeah, and this is thousands of dollars of advice we'll give to everybody out there real quick. If ever you do get your ads disapproved, and Facebook gives, and anytime you do, you can do an appeal, and when the appeal is, if your appeal goes through, Facebook will always say it will always give you a link in the appeal of, hey, you should go study this, so that you don't do it, so it doesn't happen next time. Do it. They know. Their algorithms know if you click that link and actually go to the bottom of the page. I've seen it because it changes the top of the page when you get to the bottom. So actually do it.
They can pixel you on a separate website. They can pixel you on their website.
They know what you're doing. If you watch the video, if you had your eyes open while you watched it. Yeah, I know.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it also goes to a general underlying rule, whether it's budgeting or anything, is listen to Facebook. Too many people try to game the system. Like there's some sort of weird rebel gene that people have. They're like, oh, how can I subvert the system? Okay, understand. There's a multi-billion-dollar system out there. Its entire job is to turn ad budget into results that you can turn into your business, right? That's its entire job, is to consume budget and get result. They're not actually out to screw you. They're actually out to do business. And if they get your result with your money, they'll get more of your money, which is how they became like a gazillion-dollar company. And too many guys get the idea of, how can I subvert the machine and make it somehow, Zucks is out to get me. No, Zucks is not out to get you. Zucks is out to do the same thing any reasonable company is trying to do, get a good result for its customer. If you get enough good results for your customer, you'll live a long, happy life and have a billion-dollar company, which is what they have.
That's the inclination towards that comes to just, unfortunately, how Facebook deals with people. It's very onerous. They don't communicate very well at all, and this just creates a natural bias against them. You think they're not there to help you, and frankly, they're not always there to help you. But when it comes to results,
they get tens of millions of advertisers. You live or die, they don't really care, unless you're a household brand name.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, we do millions of dollars of sales with them, and it's still hard to get a hold of them sometimes.
And you can't, no matter get it out of your head. If you think you can trick Facebook's algorithms, just stop.
And it's an algorithm too.
Happen.
One more point. It's an algorithm. It's not a person. If you had an ad banned, it wasn't somebody went, screw you, I don't like you, chiropractor. No, it was just that the system tripped a wire. It may have been right. Actually, I know, talking to Facebook engineers, they know they're wrong more often than they're right, but they have no choice. There's no way to police 10 million advertisers by hand.
I love hearing new clients say Facebook doesn't like me.
Facebook's
not a person.
Hey, man, it was early on in the agency 10 years ago. I was convinced that Facebook just didn't like chiropractors because I'd run something for a while and it would go to hell, and I'd be like, what the hell? Oh, it was hate chiropractors. I mean, what a dumb thing. Now, you want proof they don't hate chiropractors? Their example in the courses, when you do the courses, they give an example of a chiropractor as an ideal client. Ta-da! So my idea was just because I didn't know what I was doing at the time.
They're not biased against chiropractors. They're biased against people who don't know the system, who don't play by the rules.
And they have automatic systems that are built to punish you automatically into the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I always thought the final thing is they just charge you more money and take it from you and take it from you and take it from you until you either learn or you run out of money.
Yep.
Which is awesome. What a way! What
survival of the fittest, right?
Survival of the right is definitely like Darwinian marketing, right?
Yeah. And the rules are explicit.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. Like Facebook very clearly says, do not use before and after pictures.
Yeah.
I actually a weight loss client I talked to about 6 weeks ago was a client that was coming back, went somewhere else and then was coming back to us, but he was coming back with his tail between his legs because his page had been shut down. And he said, I don't know. And I just asked him, I said, did the marketer use before and after pictures? He said, yeah. I said, that's why.
Yeah.
That's a 10-year-old. That's an original Facebook day one rule. Like that is such a newbie rule. No, anyway.
Yes, but we were talking about budget.
Yeah, Ian, so what else is there anything else about budget?
Like I said, it's the coolest thing about budget is play with it. Don't just set it in. Again, that's another sentence I tell with the volume, like use it. If we have so many clients that on a Monday will just call and say, schedule's like this week. Okay, we'll turn the budget up for 3 days and then we'll turn it back down. Yeah. Or I'm going out of town. Okay, good. Oh, actually, here's another gem. If you're, probably anybody who's listening probably owns an office of some kind. Let's say you're going on vacation for a week. Don't take your budget to zero for that week. Stay alive. Even if you take your budget down to $10 a day, it's your volume. You don't want off. You want low volume, because there is momentum and there is definitely something to that of just turning your ads off for a week. And then even if your plan is to double the budget when you come back, great, but still turn it down. Don't turn it.
Yeah,
off.
There are little tricks with the algorithm and budget where giving it a little data is good. Right. No data, it almost like it freezes and then it has to almost restart its learning again.
Absolutely.
And that just costs you money learning the same thing that it already learned before. So you saved $100 on budget that week, but you actually have to spend $500 to have the system relearn what it is you wanted, which you already had before.
Yeah, and even logistically, you can't set the budget to zero. You actually have to turn the ads off.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to have to turn them back on. Which means you're going to have to go through review, and that's a whole process of turning ads on and off. That is a pain in the butt when you can just go.
You think you're saving a few bucks and you're actually hosing yourself.
Now, speaking of testing budget, by the way, there's something to note here too, and this is just for anyone out there that's tweaking budget, doing stuff with it. Give it a little time, all right? You don't want to play with it too much. So, for example, let's say I take a client who's got $50 a day. He's, oh, John, this is great. We're getting 2 leads a day. Turn up $200. Let's get 4 leads a day. All right, fine. I turn up $200. If I turn in the next day, 24 hours later, and we don't have 4 leads, I'm not panicking. Because you think about this, if I've turned up the budget from 50 to 100, let's say I did that at 3, 4 o'clock, middle of the day, they blew that $50, that extra $50 in the second half of the day, probably not as efficiently as they should have been doing. You have to give it a little bit of time to see, all right, let's let this thing groove itself in, let's see how these changes actually take hold, and then you can start to judge efficiency. And this goes really for any change you make, mileage change, gender change, any kind of targeting change.
Yeah, it takes a little time for the algorithm to go, okay, get its wits around what you want, because they're planning to. I'm convinced the thing says, oh, okay, I want to keep the guy spending $50 forever, so let's give him just enough to get him $50, right? And you change it, $100, okay, we're playing for $100 out, let me widen this out a little bit, but it has to test and learn. It's like, it's not, people expect things out of Facebook that you wouldn't expect out of any other media. Like, okay, I want to double my results from the billboard this week. No, you're not. You're going to put a second billboard up next to it? What is your plan? Just because you can play with that way doesn't mean it responds instantly.
Exactly.
All right, good. Gents, I think that's a good ending point for this. Thank you very much for your help on budget.
No problem.
And we will keep doing this as long as somebody decides to listen to this. Hey, if you're listening to this at all, send us a message of any kind whatsoever of encouragement. Love it.
Ask questions.
Whatever you got, we'll answer. Just reach out and contact us any way you can. And otherwise, we'll see you in the next podcast. Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
See ya.